Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, we made it to the end of another week. Of course, you have your news headlines coming up on this Friday. You have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and in today's news you can use. This week, I spoke with Courtney Alev of Intuit TurboTax to help you guys with some great tax tips for tax season. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In national news, special counsel says Biden willfully disclosed classified materials but no criminal charges warranted. President Joe Biden willfully retained and disclosed highly classified materials when he was a private citizen, including documents about military and foreign policy in Afghanistan and other sensitive national security matters, according to a Justice Department report that nonetheless says no criminal charges are warranted for him or anyone else. The report from Special Counsel Robert Hur, released on Thursday, represents a harshly critical assessment of Biden's handling of sensitive government materials, but also details the reason why he should not be charged with the crime. The findings will likely blunt his ability to forcefully condemn Donald Trump, Biden's likely opponent, in November's presidential election over a criminal indictment charging the former president with illegally hoarding classified records at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. Our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified material after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen, Hur wrote. Hur's report says evidence suggests that many of the classified documents recovered by investigators at the Penn Biden Center, in parts of Biden's Delaware home, and in the Senate papers at the University of Delaware were retained by mistake. Biden said in a statement that he was pleased the special counsel had reached a conclusion I believed all along they would reach, that there will be no charges brought in this case, and the matter is now closed. He made a point of saying that he sat for 5 hours of in-person interviews over 2 days on October 8th and 9th, even though Israel had just attacked on October the 7th, and I was in the middle of handling an international crisis. I just believed that what I owed the American people so they could know no charges would be brought, and the matter closed, Biden said. The report comes after a years-long investigation into the improper retention of classified documents by Biden from his time as a senator and as a vice president that were found at his Delaware home, as well as at a private office that he used in between his service in the Obama administration and becoming president. The investigation into Biden is separate from Special Counsel Jack Smith's inquiry into the handling of classified documents by Trump after Trump left the White House. Smith's team has charged Trump with illegally retaining top-secret records at Mar-a-Lago and then obstructing government efforts to get them back. Trump has said he did nothing wrong. In more national news, the Supreme Court seems poised to reject efforts to kick Trump off the ballot over the Capitol riot. The Supreme Court seems poised to reject attempts to kick former President Donald Trump off the 2024 ballot, says the Associated Press. A definitive ruling for Trump, the leading Republican candidate for president, would largely end efforts in Colorado, Maine, and elsewhere to prevent his name from appearing on the ballot. Conservative and liberal justices alike questioned during arguments Thursday whether Trump can be disqualified from being president again because of his efforts to undo his loss in the 2020 election to Democrat Joe Biden, ending with the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Their main concern was whether Congress must act before states can invoke a constitutional provision that was adopted after the Civil War to prevent former office holders who engaged in insurrection from holding office again. There also were questions about whether the president is covered by the provision. Without such congressional legislation, Justice Elena Kagan was among several justices who wanted to know why single states should decide who gets to be president of the United States. The outcome could reflect a broad consensus of the court, and it could come quickly, says the Associated Press. In more national news, Louisiana's governor plans to deploy 150 National Guard members to the U.S.-Mexico border. Following the extraordinary collapse of a border security deal, Governor Jeff Landry said Thursday that he would deploy Louisiana National Guard members to the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas. Landry announced the plan at a news conference at Louisiana's capital, joining a growing list of Republican governors who have offered state resources. Landry visited the border at Eagle Pass, Texas, with more than a dozen other Republican governors last week, and later described the situation there as an emergency. On Thursday, he blasted the federal government, saying it essentially dog-whistled to those who were trying to come into the country illegally by saying, "Listen, if you swim across the Rio Grande, we will let you in that way." The deployment of approximately 150 Louisiana National Guard members would likely begin in March, officials said. The estimated $3 million cost of the deployment would need approval from the GOP-dominated legislature. And finally, in business news, Wall Street holds near record levels with S&P 500 on precipice of 5,000. Stocks held near record levels on Wall Street as evidence keeps piling up to show the job market remains remarkably solid. The S&P 500 edged up 0.1% on Thursday, just a few points shy of closing above the 5,000 level for the first time. The Dow rose 0.1%, and the Nasdaq Composite was 0.2% higher. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's on time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Always keep this in mind. No one can live your life better than you. So today, let's get about living it to the fullest. Have an amazing Friday and enjoy your weekend. We are part of my conversation coming up with Courtney 11, today's news you can use. Stay with us, you're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your news you can use. Courtney 11 of Intuit TurboTax join me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to share some tips for you guys now that it's tax season. Here's a bit of our conversation.
Courtney, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, Courtney, some people are excited about this time of year, especially if they think they're getting a refund. Others may not be as surprised or excited. But what can consumers do, Courtney, to prepare for tax season this year?
Yeah, if you're not feeling excited about tax season, you are definitely not alone. In fact, nearly 1 in 3 Americans told us they're actually dreading filing their taxes this tax season. But I'm here to tell you it does not need to be scary. If you're feeling worried about taxes, the best things you can do for yourself are to get organized and to make a plan. In terms of getting organized, you're probably getting a bunch of forms either sent to you in the mail already or sent to your email. Put a shoebox on your desk for any of those things coming in the mail, or create a folder on your computer for anything electronic. That way when you sit down, you'll be totally ready to go. And as hard as it is, try not to procrastinate. I know I am the queen of waiting until the last minute with things like this, but the earlier you file your taxes, the earlier you'll get that tax refund if you're due one this year.
Yeah, such a great tip, and I think it is something that we do typically put off. But I love what you said, Courtney. The sooner we get it done, the sooner we can get the benefits, especially if we are going to be getting a refund. So one thing that does come up a lot, and we probably are already hearing the commercials or seeing the commercials, are the different filing options. How can consumers decide the best option for them this year?
Yeah, there are a ton of tax filing options out there, and it can be really overwhelming, especially for people who might be filing their taxes for the first time. It's really helpful to go online and do a few minutes of research to help you figure out what's the best solution for you this year. But the good news is that online tools have gotten really smart. They're fast, easy, intuitive, and they really hold your hand through that entire end-to-end process. But if you're still feeling nervous and you really just want that human touch, someone to reassure you that everything is looking good, a lot of online options like TurboTax also offer expert assistance.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'll be back with you guys on Monday with more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course, the entertainment spotlight. Until then, I hope Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.